Jay's gonna hit record. Click, I'm out. All right. Good morning and welcome to the next episode of the Viva Underground. My name is Jay Leask, and we'll see if she gets the clue.
And my name is Joy Apple. I hope everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful day out there in Microsoft 365 land.
I know I am. I'm very excited for our guest, but I don't want to give it away yet. Joy, tell me, what are we talking about today?
What do we talk about every day, Pinky? I mean, Jay.
I do want to take over the world. That's fair.
To take over the world.
Yes.
Using
yes.
M365. No,
Zoink.
It's devolved into chaos. No, I'm really excited for today's guest and today's conversation. And I'm interested to see how you and our mystery guest, who will soon enter the studio, I'm curious to see where you guys take the conversation from your perspectives, because as always, Viva Underground is here to shine a light on the purpose behind the technology we implement, we support, we train on, we communicate on. And you guys have an interesting position in this ecosystem, working with organizations, kind of setting the stage for technology in a very interesting way. So I'll let you take it from there.
Okay. Well, the short amount of background is I am I don't even know what our role is anymore. I work at the Microsoft Innovation Hub, and to tell you what my job title is, I'll actually introduce Ajay Iyer. Ajay is my counterpart in St. Louis. I'm out of our Washington, D.C. Innovation Hub. Ajay, what is our job title this week?
Putting him on the spot.
It's an AI business solutions hub solution engineer.
And there's like a specialty too, because like AI business solutions is now what used to be modern work and business applications, and we're the workforce engineer.
Yeah, the AI workforce solutions, I think. No, workforce solutions. Yes.
So AI
You're
business
an
solutions
AIWFSE.
engineer hub. Yeah, it's such a long. Are you writing it? You're whiteboarding out our name,
Yeah.
Isn't that what you're doing?
AIWFSE. You can't even say that as an acronym.
You forgot the the SEH, the Solution Engineer Hub in the middle of that. It's AIBS SEBA. I can't. Anyway,
We all got to work on that.
Ajay, what exactly? Tell us a little bit about what we do in our job.
So that's actually the fun part, which is almost every day we get to talk to a new customer, and it's a new business problem maybe trying to solve.
Mm-hmm.
We get to hang out with them for a good solid 6.5 hours. And
Yeah.
so it's to learn about their business challenges, and then maybe educate a little bit about what we do as an organization, as a platform, and then bring them together, business problem,
Yep.
potentially technology, and where do we actually help them make progress in the journey.
That's amazing.
It's a ton of fun. I liken it to the old evangelist jobs because we're super short term with a customer. Now we try to bring a customer through like a journey. And so in doing so, we may see them 3, 4, 5 times over the course of 6 months. But when they walk out of the room, we're not with them anymore. They come into it's a destination. They come to us for a day or 2 or 3, and then they take their team, they take their partner, and they go implement whatever we talked about, or they execute the plan in order to implement that. And then they come back and do the next stages with us. They might do like an architecture design session. They might do a rapid prototype to validate like one particular thing that they need to make sure works the way it works. And it's great. There was a commercial back in the day, Jay, I don't know if you remember this one. It was these 2 consultants sitting at this guy's desk, and they're pitching this idea, and the guy's like, "Yes, let's do it." And the guy's like, "Whoa. We don't actually do anything. We just come up with the ideas." And it's like the best job ever.
It
Well,
actually,
when I
go
was
ahead.
consulting, I used to joke, sorta, that I don't marry my clients, I date them,
Hmm.
right? Now,
Yes.
sometimes it's like, ooh, short project in, out, done.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're like, oh, it's already been 6 months, 9 months. Can't we do something else together? Right. So there's pros and cons there for sure.
Yeah. We speed
But
date.
now I I would have to say that would make me a little nervous to spend a whole day with someone because I get attached very quickly. And then you don't know.
Hmm.
You don't know. Are they messing it up? Did they
Are they
remember
messing it
these
up? No,
important
Joy. They never
important
mess it
things?
up. They, but
Really?
That never happens.
I would have a hard time releasing. But I guess if they come back, then you can like, if
right.
there are
Course correct.
challenges that have arisen, you can kind of have that as a new conversation.
But the fun part. So for me and Ajay, I'd love to hear what your favorite part is. Like for me, the fun part is we we get to experience all of the latest technology as it's coming out, and we get to walk customers across the spectrum. So like 60% of my customers are US federal government. But then I have the defense industrial base, the defense contractors that support the DoD. Then I have the hotel magnets, and I have financial institutions. And so like I get all of these different experiences, and I get to hear someone say, "I'm the unicorn with the special case." I'm like, actually, I just heard this totally different industry have the exact same problem, and they're like, "Really? Tell me about it." And it's a lot of fun to have that. Ajay, what's your favorite part of the job?
Um, well, that, and also the fact that a lot of times I get to build this trust relationship. And
Mm,
by that, I mean being in this unique role inside of Microsoft, you're not just assigned accounts every year and then the accounts change and you lose those relationships. We are one of those that we don't have accounts tied to us. And so
yeah,
I have spoken to customers who I met, who I've been meeting with for the last 7 years in this role.
yeah,
And so
Mm,
the fact that they still remember me, they reach out and say, hey, we talked about this 2 years ago. We actually did this and now we're ready for the next thing.
yeah.
In fact, that's one of the conversations next week I'm about to have, where he just reached out to me one day on chat and said, hey, remember we talked about Purview back when it was called AIP? I said, yeah. He said, well, we're finally ready. We got approval to do this. And now we have some very specific questions around some of the newer advancements in the Purview space that we want to make sure we are actually
mhm.
incorporating. And so, yep, let's meet. So yeah, it's that part too that I really,
Yeah.
really enjoy, because the fact that they're coming back means I wasn't BSing around the first
Right,
time, and
right.
that I've earned their trust, which is very hard to do in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Well, I'm curious. I feel like I'm interviewing both of you at this point
I know.
because
I'm
I
sorry. I'll
want to
I'll try to stop.
know. I want to know more. I want to know more. So, how often, kind of thinking about this through the Viva Underground lens, how often is it? Well, I have a couple of questions that I want to dig through, but is it typically strictly IT roles that are coming into the innovation hubs to have these conversations? Okay, I'm seeing a no. So you get a variety of folks like from IT, from the business, like technology stakeholders. Okay.
Absolutely. Um, so from my perspective, at least, so similar to Jay, the industries I speak to are manufacturing, healthcare, retail, professional
Hmm.
services. I'm probably missing a couple of them, and I don't have that many government institutions being in St. Louis, but the stakeholders, the different business units vary from HR. They come frequently. I've spoken to folks from the privacy teams, legal. That's been a
Okay.
lot too. Yeah. I've spoken with in the healthcare space, nurse managers, which, by the way, a very interesting story. Would love to talk about that someday. But nurse managers, and just give you a sneak peek into it, some of these nurse managers on an average manage 200 nurses in a day, right? To be able to do their own jobs and manage the workload coming from 200 nurses is no joke. And so It gives you a whole other perspective on life and your job in general. But that, and then on the financial services was another industry. So financial services, talking to financial advisors, understanding the nuances of what they can and cannot and should not do with AI, so many different things. So that's the kind of spectrum of business units I get to speak with.
You made me think, so many times we say this at Orchestra, we said this when I was consulting, we start sometimes getting our own heads and stress out, like, I'm going to go on vacation. What happens if the bat signal goes up and they need me? And we're always like, hey, we're not saving lives here. Well, you talking about managing 200 nurses,
Yes.
guess what? That's a whole different conversation because they are.
Yep.
That's heavy.
Yep.
Yeah. I think the key to success with any of our conversations is that it is a mix of people. Even if IT is who's bringing the group in, right? Like the team that reached out to Ajay about Microsoft Purview, it's probably either the security team or the technologists. Am I right? Yeah. And they can come in and they can learn about the tech all they want, but one of the things they're going to need to be able to implement it is they're going to need to be able to talk to the legal team to understand what do we need to protect. They're going to need to talk to the business to understand what types of data do they work with and how do they need to work with it. Because you can implement security and you can implement encryption and you can implement sharing controls on all this data. But if you're breaking down the business process, they're going to stop using your tech. So you've got to implement the tech in a way that fits the regulatory controls, that fits their business requirements, and doesn't disable the business from doing what they need to accomplish. Like if you lock down all the medical records to the point that nurses can't access them, they're
very secure.
Right. Yeah.
Useless. Well, but that's, back in the day when Jay still, went out and about in the world, we had a session that we co-presented. We've called it probably half a dozen different things, but the first title was How to Win Friends in the Business and Solve Problems. It was basically an IT as a service session in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
But it's exactly that, right? IT and the business have to have a conversation. Otherwise, we're the IT rock stars out there rolling out this really cool, super neat stuff. And HR, the nurses, the contractors, whoever, they're sitting there going, well, this doesn't help me at all. So what's the point? So how often, I'm curious, is it a daily? Is it a weekly? Is it every once in a while? Do you have to kind of like, it's football season, throw the flag and say, whoa, 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 I know you really want to roll full speed ahead with this, but what's the business impact? What's the people impact? Is that a pretty frequent thing, I would think?
It is. I'll let Jay speak on his experiences, but so I've been in this role. This is my 8th year now, and I would say almost comes up at least once a week, if not more.
Wow.
And in our organization, at least in Microsoft, we have a term for that, right? We call that yellow light. Look for yellow lights in conversations and actually hit pause and say, hang on a second. And I'll give you 2 examples that come to mind. One was but when we were just announcing making the early, glamour videos of Copilot and how it can write fancy emails, I had an organization tell me flat out that we are looking at AI as a way to reduce headcount. And I was like, let me explain to you our perspective, and then you still are empowered to make your own choices, right? And so that was one yellow flag scenario for sure, I remember. And the other being specifically around things like just I think a couple of weeks ago, maybe, or a month ago, a conversation around, oh, we're doing this really cool thing with SharePoint, and we're trying to build an agent around it. And I said, that's great, but let me understand more about what you're trying to do. And they didn't actually have an answer around why an agent, except it was an agent because everybody has FOMO with AI and agents. And so what was basically a very simple Power Automate flow was being over-engineered as an agent.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yellow flag. I love the fact that you're thinking agents, but you're going to spend way more money for something that's a simple process automation thing. So
yeah, I think reminding IT that they are building a solution, implementing something for someone to do a job. That's the key. Like it goes back to very early, very basic project management techniques. You are not just implementing SharePoint, right? You're implementing something that someone has to use. How are they going to use it? What value do they need to get out of it? Why do they want this, right? Like if you aren't answering these questions from the minute you start implementing, and you're just implementing something shiny and new, then what are we really doing? And while AI, I truly believe, and I had a CIO of a commercial organization, an energy organization, at the beginning of one of my sessions say, "Don't sell me on AI." I'm like, "Well, wait, what are we here to talk about?" They're like, "No, it's not. It's not that we're not here to talk about AI. You just don't have to pitch its importance, because within 5 years, every tool I have will have AI. It is a game changer in how we work and how technology works, frankly. But talk to me about the value I'm going to get out of the things we're talking about specifically. Like, we're here to talk about employee experience. What value am I going to get by focusing efforts and energies and dollars on employee experience instead of just technology? Like, that's the kind of conversation. And I loved it because the CIO was throwing the yellow flag in that case, saying, pause, don't be flashy, be real. Like, why do I need communities for my employees to talk? Oh, because it means that I had this great scenario. There's a what's the word? Elderly living. I can't think of the phrase right now. Long-term care type. Senior care. A senior care facility. It's a organization that has 300 facilities. And they were looking at Viva Engage specifically, so that they could set up communities, because they had in some of their facilities, and in most of their facilities, they had people that were the sole person with an expertise. They're like, but I have 300 of those people. If I can create a community for them to share and ask questions of each other, you're now no longer alone. And if I can do it so that they don't have to be at their computer, but they can do it from the floor, then when they are having a problem, they can immediately reach out and they can start to connect with people and get answers from exactly. And so for them, it wasn't about the flashy technology. It was about solving a major problem. They had massive turnover because the person was on an island.
Yeah.
And so that's it was that kind of conversation, reminding people why we're doing something, helps you to implement it much more successfully.
And it's sad to say, I mean, we're all technologists here. We do love us some shiny, right?
Yeah.
I think human beings in general, we tend to really like new shiny, but this is going to sound like it's totally out of left field. But a couple of weekends ago, my husband Stuart and I were helping his mom shop for a new refrigerator. Nobody wants to have to buy a new refrigerator, but this is where we were, right? So we're there looking around, and we were just giving her some, you know how sometimes you get all those options and you're already stressed, and we were just giving her some space to think. We're walking around, and he stops. He goes, babe, look, 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 look. And it was a washing machine that had this huge AI sticker on it. No, I don't need new shiny to complicate getting my clothes clean. Not today. It's too new. Like Ajay, you were saying, it's like the Power Automate flow works beautifully. Why make this harder than it needs to be?
Yep. Exactly.
But can we all agree, though, that a fridge telling me that my peas are about to spoil, I need to cook them today, that's helpful, right?
I'm not opposed to that, because that is solving a problem.
the things we will justify.
That is reducing food and budgetary waste in my household. Now, I don't know, maybe if I'd taken 2 seconds to see what the crap AI was going to tell me about when it's washing my clothes, I don't know. Like, the water should be hotter. Okay, fix it. I don't know. I also hate laundry, so maybe that's why I don't care as much.
The only AI I need in my washer dryer is folding my clothes.
Or
Actually,
simply saying, Joy, they've been sitting in the dryer for an hour now. Are we just waiting till tomorrow? What's happening?
yeah, I'm actually in the same boat. I had to get a new washer dryer just a couple months ago, and I went completely like you, Joy, low tech. In fact, there are no circuit boards, there's no touch buttons. It's all knobs and dials, actually.
You went old
And
school.
believe it or not,
There is a circuit board in there, I guaranteed.
oh, I'm sure there is,
Okay.
but I don't want to overcomplicate,
But it's
right?
not
There's no
digital.
automatic sensor that says, oh, depending on how much load you have, I'm going to have this run cycle. No, I know how much I put in. Okay. And so I'm going to pick the option. I'm just going to hit start and it just washes and dries my clothes. And that's all.
Are you telling me your washer and dryer don't sing to you like mine do? Bum ba da da dum bum ba 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 bum.
Not
My
yet.
coffee pot sings. Lovely. But, okay. Anywho.
What are we
Now
talking
I
about
feel like we
again?
could spin off and we could get like some appliance sponsors for the Viva Underground.
There you go.
We
There
we
you
should
go.
This episode
we should
sponsored by LG. Looking good. Life is good. I forget what it stands for. Anyway,
Life
that's
is
a good.
good.
Life
That's
is
their
good.
tagline. So bringing it back to a Viva and a human conversation real quick, I'd mentioned earlier about this organization I met with the nurses or managers that are managing about 200 nurses. Believe it or not, in this world of AI and everything with Copilot and all, we spent almost the first 2.5 hours, 3 hours, in fact, all the way up to lunch, just trying to understand a day in the life of a nurse manager, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And then we took a lunch break, and when we came back, we spent the next hour and a half just whiteboarding, and I used no tech. And believe me, these nurse managers were loving it. The fact there were no product names, but except I was just kind of helping to visualize, okay, if a nurse manager has these 40 systems that generate different pieces of information that they have to go look at. Wouldn't it be great if there was a dashboard that just lit up with information for them that was contextual every day based on the needs of the hour on their hospital floors, for their wings, and for the different nurse tasks that might be rolling up to them for approvals and things of that nature. And they were like, that makes too much sense. What's the catch? And I said, there's no catch.
What's the catch?
Because this is technology that has been around for a while that I think is extremely relevant for you. And guess what? Now I've dropped a product name. It's actually called the dashboard in Viva Connections.
Yep.
Something that you have owned for a very long time. This isn't flashy AI. Now, sure, in the back end, I may do some Power Automate stuff to, bubble the information up. But from your perspective, you just get a dashboard that hopefully is tailored for what you want to see. And something as simple as that sometimes can make life so much easier for these nurse managers. Even if it frees them 15 minutes, they said that's a huge benefit because that's 15 minutes that they can go spend on the floor of a hospital versus sitting in front of a computer having to do things.
So that's one of my favorite types of solutions. Because, and I love that you spelled this out for us, right? If you look at the algebraic equation of what you just did, so you saved 15 minutes across 200 people across probably 3 shifts a day. Like, that math adds up so quickly, and people are always trying to, like, how can AI solve the big problem? And I'm sure over time we will get to a point where AI is solving these big problems. But like, technology in general just needs to solve these little problems hundreds of times a day. And that's where I think we get the most out of employee experience based solutions as opposed to just technology solutions, because we're really trying to figure out, like, what persona do I have? In this case, Ajay had the nurse manager and the nurses that they manage, and what challenges do they have? And they needed to be able to capture all of this data. And what do we have at our fingertips already that we can bring together to solve these tiny little challenges hundreds of times a day? And that, to me, that's what employee experience is about. It's about solving the little challenge hundreds of times. It adds up. It becomes the big solution. It enables you to have time for that. It's wild.
And not to mention, back to the employee or the human experience part of it too, is things like this can also sometimes alleviate that stress around and keep attrition down as well, right? Because organizations spend so much human capital around training
Yep.
and onboarding that if I can at least minimize that, there are other cascading things downstream that can also be positively impacted by something like this. So yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is
This is, sorry, I was going to say, this is giving those nurse managers too the chance to be heard,
yeah.
to communicate, to talk about their problems, and sometimes just the opportunity. When I was doing internet deployments a million years ago, we would bring in representatives from each of the primary departments that needed to have a share in this intranet, and I would encourage them, don't just bring in managers. In fact, the fewer managers, the better.
Yep.
Bring in people that are actually in there trying to do the work so they can be heard, so they can surface the day in, day out problems.
Absolutely.
And again, right, it doesn't have to be super fancy to be effective and powerful. Love it.
Agreed.
Ajay, what brought you into this type of role? Because, one of the things that's really cool about our role is we are technologists. Like we are very deep, very well, I don't think I am, but everyone tells me I am, very deeply knowledge across a very broad set of technologies. What made you go, I don't want to be a SharePoint developer or whatever your previous experience was, although I'm guessing that's where you were. What made you go, I want to be across all of these things and like put those puzzles together with people?
So I may sound naive about this. I didn't find this role. This role kind of found me. In the sense that I was working for Microsoft Consulting Services as a SharePoint consultant. And no, Jay, I was not a developer. I was actually more on the admin, the infrastructure side. So I used to be the guy setting up SharePoint server, search applications, and all this. Anyway, so I was interviewing for another job that would have actually made me move to Chicago to be a collab technical specialist. But some of the logistics didn't work out with me having to move and all that. So then I just stayed in my role, and then lo and behold, a buddy of mine who also was working in MCS at the time and actually still does, he said, hey, there are these 4 new roles that just got posted in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, okay. So I looked at it. A lot of it didn't make sense to me, but I said, hey, this is a different role. Sounds interesting. Let's find out. And I applied with very little hope of ever getting this because this role did not make sense to me at all. But then I got tech screened a couple of times, got grilled. And on finals day, what really got me hooked to this role was I had this one interview with, at the time, the Chicago MTC director. And she started off by saying, tell me something interesting in your life that has happened to you that you will never forget. I said, okay. So I explained to her how I met my wife for the first time. It was an arranged marriage, and we had only spoken on Yahoo Chat at the time, way back when. And we were going to meet each other for the first time for our engagement ceremony in Mumbai. And she said, okay, keep going, tell me more. And literally now we've been 50 minutes into this interview and 10 more minutes left. And I'm thinking, when is she going to ask me the questions about my job and about my skills? And then she said, okay, great. Do you have any questions? I said, yes, I do. I have no idea what I was talking to you about in this interview. And she said, well, this interview was for me to see how long you can hold my attention by keeping things interesting.
Yeah.
Which is core to this job. And that's what got me hooked, because she said, you'll have customers talking to you for a whole day, and you could lose them in the first 30 minutes, which means you won't be able to paint a picture and tell a story.
Yeah.
So she was testing my storytelling skills, my improvisation skills, and my ability to keep the customer hooked. And I was like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. So that's my story, Jay and Joey.
Our director of enterprise sales at Orchestrate calls that executainment.
Oh, that's nice. I like that phrase.
Yeah.
She busted that out on me the other day. She said, you know what? You've got executainment nailed. I was like, say the word again.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
there you go. There's your new word.
And it's not just this role. Like that is the key for this role, but it is also the key for bringing together the different stakeholders you need to bring together, because you're not just talking to executives, you're not just talking to the business, you're not just talking to cybersecurity or the SharePoint admins, you're talking to them all at once. And if you want to be successful in changing how an organization works, which is literally what we're talking about. Employee experience is about changing how an organization works, to solve problems. And yes, right now the phrase of the day is to create efficiencies. The phrase previously was to do more with less. The phrase before that was to create bigger to create better profit. Like there's always a thing that we want to achieve, but the challenge is getting everybody on the same page to achieve that. And while that is a key for our job, it is also a key for getting your organization to achieve that. If you look at your organization, there's always somebody in there that is getting everybody to hear the same story. And that's really, Ajay, I love that you told that story, because that's it. That's what this is about. If you want to have success, as Joy said, if you want to figure out the purpose behind the technology, if you want to figure out how to get organizations to be successful with it, you got to have that across the board.
Absolutely.
Mic drop.
Some of our organizations need to internalize too, and I'm saying this as a friend to anyone watching this episode. If you don't have someone with that skill set in IT,
yeah,
it's okay. Because honestly, you're probably not expected to. It's a blessing if you do.
Right.
Find someone. Find a power user out there. Somebody asked me the other day what my superpower is. I was like, well, other than being able just to talk constantly, I would say it's top of the list, man. It's the ability to take really complex technical ideas and break it down into normal words and to have that conversation with people that aren't technical.
Yeah.
And that's brought me very far in my career.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to implement change at your organization and you're like, oh, that's not me, that's okay. Find someone.
Yeah.
They're out there. Take it. It's like in The Legend of Zelda, it's dangerous to go alone, right? Find a friend, take them.
So, Joy, what you just said just reminded me of something I had read a while back. It was, I think Einstein had said this, which is a truly complex topic, right? And he was working on a lot of different complex topics, but he said to measure someone's understanding of a truly complex topic is not in them using big words. If someone can take a complex topic and break it down into layman terms and make it such that even a 5-year-old or 10-year-old can understand it, that means you now truly have an understanding of this complex topic.
Mm-hmm.
So because we all love to drop buzzwords and big technical jargon about different things in AI and RAG and all those things, but if you can't explain that to a 10-year-old, then it means you don't have a good understanding of what that is in the first place.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're able to do this proves you are a foremost expert in this field.
Oh, well, me and Einstein, we go way back. So.
Right.
No. All right. So Jay, I'm gonna put you on this. We've been putting you on the spot the whole time, but I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Again.
Tell me, like, if you were to kind of summarize here what we were talking about, the exploration of the purpose behind technology, the means to be successful in implementing things, like, what is your like top 2 or 3 things an organization has to do to be successful?
Fair question. I would say the first thing I always like to ask my customers is the why behind what we are trying to do. If you have you have a project or a major thing that you're trying to do over the next couple of years, it's important to understand the why. The why shouldn't just be, hey, because it's the in thing or because I'm told to do so. If it's really driving business impact through people, because I think people is the most valuable currency for any organization. And so if the why is not solid, I try to help them find the why, or I try to coax them into maybe you should think about this slightly differently, right? So that to me is very important. The other piece I would also say is in today's world of AI, especially a lot of, I think you made the point earlier, Jay, about profit being one driver, profitability and sales and all that. That's great, but if there are things that can be solved in a simpler way, we should always explore that first. So looking for keeping an ear out for what are you really saying, and if there's a way to do this in a simpler way, that I think should be paramount. And not everything has to be an AI, not everything has to be an agent, right? Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing is, if what we're trying to do isn't something that people can get behind in terms of actually wanting to do it, then it's always going to fail. So if people are not kept in the loop when thinking about solutions, then you have missed the point in the first place. So high, keep it simple, and keep humans always in the loop and making technical decisions.
I love it.
100% on board. Jay, this was an awesome conversation. We will find a reason to bring you back to talk more and tell more stories. That nurse's story was awesome.
I wrote it down with 3 exclamation points. So we'll be making that happen.
Oh, I have some horror stories too, by the way.
Oh,
So maybe
yes.
on a different day we can share that. But I do want to say thank you all so much for inviting me and thinking that I'm worthy of being in this amazing podcast. So thanks for having me.
So, Jay, how can people learn more from you? How can they connect with you?
Oh, so I used to be on Facebook and LinkedIn. Not LinkedIn, Facebook and Twitter, which became X, but I'm not on those 2 platforms anymore. I'm only on LinkedIn.
Okay.
But they can look me up, Ajay Iyer, Iyer, which it is an I, not an L. Often people presume it's an L and call me liar, which is also true, but not my actual name. So I'm not Ajay Liar, but Ajay Iyer. That's how you can find me on LinkedIn. And I try to be semi-active. But yeah, that's the best way to find me.
That's awesome. And for those of you listening, what did you think? Did you add more? Tell us in the comments what you thought we didn't cover. What additional pieces of the puzzle are missing, and we'll bring Jay back and we'll talk about those next time.
Well, I want to call out too. I know it was back this year and I wasn't able to go, but I'm hoping M365 St. Louis.
Oh yes, so thank you.
Yes.
So yeah, we will be bringing that officially. We did it last year or this past year, but formally and officially we'll do it next year, most likely in February-ish.
Ooh, you better
Okay.
get that on the table because people are already booking February.
Okay, good to know.
February in St. Louis, but okay.
I know
better than February in Chicago.
Well, we try to do it in spring, or but spring it's just so nice outside. People don't want to be cooped up inside an office and learning technology. So we try to find an awful day.
It's worth it. It's worth it. So worth it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Ajay. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time for sure.